I've actually come across something that is going to destroy the barbecue. Destroy true?
Yes.
Destroy the barbecue forever. The great Australian barbie could be long gone. Why? Because what we have before us, cooking very slowly, I must admit, solar sausages on the solar barbecue, or solar cooking. Am I right, Anne? Would that be the right term, solar cooker?
Yes, yeah, solar barbecue.
Now, Anne, you're an architect by trade. How did you come to get involved with the kids here at the Central, Toorak Central School as far as designing a barbecue or like a solar cooker?
Well, it's part of the Architects in Schools program, and one of the important things that I thought would be good to work with kids on was energy and the use of energy in buildings and in our life generally. So I wanted to do an experiment that would show the children how they could save energy.
Right, now did you all work on this together?
Yes.
Right, now what kind of things did you learn about, like, do you learn how to cook sausages probably, or did you learn other things that solar power and solar energy can be used for?
Oh, we learnt lots of things, like we learnt how to save money, you know, by not using as much electricity and gas and stuff like that.
Right. Now, one thing that we do have a bit of a problem with here in Melbourne and some other parts of Australia too is that it doesn't necessarily stay sunny for long. What happens when the sun goes here?
We don't cook.
They don't cook.
We starve.
You starve. Yes. Could be a bit of a problem, Anne, there.
That's
Have we got a
right.
backup system?
Well, we have to develop other forms of energy, or using solar power by storing energy in rocks or water. You could use a sort of slow cooking method.
Aha! In other words, what we could do is use the solar barbie or the solar cooker to heat the rocks. The minute the sun went in, you'd grab the rocks, cook on the rocks.
Yes.
The minute the rocks cooled, the sun would come back out again, you'd heat the rocks. Simple. We've got it. By George, we've got it. All we have to do now is wait for the sausages to cook. Could be a while.
Did the sausages finally cook, Shirl?
Oh, Norman, they were delicious, mate. Delicious.
I know how they must have felt.
Well, how did you get sunburnt, Norm?
Oh, down at the beach, Liz. Pass the sunburn reliever, please. Go.
Off for a week at the seaside. Boy, what a jolly affair! Yeah, off for a pint and a paddle.
Hi, I'm Andrew Daddo, looking at houses made by design. Now, you probably see a lot of houses that look familiar. That's because various styles have been popular at various times. A lot of these Victorian terraces were built about 100 years ago. And then there's the Queen Anne Federation House, also quite popular in its time. Then there are people who like to have their own houses designed by architects. For instance, you'll only ever see one house like this that was built in the early 70s, and I doubt you'll ever see another house that looks a lot like this one. So why does house design keep changing? Let's ask an architect.
Well, there's a number of reasons they keep changing. Lifestyles change. For example, in Victorian days, they had very formal setup with their family, and they tended to keep visitors in the front of the house, in the parlour. Today, we like to all... we all like to sort of mill around together in the kitchen, and we don't mind if visitors come through to the kitchen. Also, technologies are changing. We're developing new materials. and materials once used before are now much more expensive. Such things as slate is very rarely used now because of the cost. And some products such as asbestos cement, which were used quite a lot in early days, have now found to be quite harmful.
And you've designed many houses. What sort of things did you take into account when you designed this house, your own?
First of all, the family requirements, what we call the brief, such things as how many bedrooms we wanted, which way each room wanted to face, how many bathrooms.
When you're doing the layout, what are you thinking about? What are some of the things you have to think about?
Well, you're thinking about really things like how you're going to use the house. And in our case, because Ian and I work long hours and we don't see a lot of the children, we wanted all the living areas to be in together. So we have the kitchen flowing into the dining room and the living room. We wanted to have the house 2 stories so we could have as much land left over, and also to look at the views.
Okay, so once you've decided what you want, what do you do then?
Well, then you start doing sketch designs. You get through what's reams and reams of butter paper, which is sort of like lunch wrapping paper, just sketching through your ideas.
When you start a sketch, you just sort of doodling and going, oh, I'd like a bedroom here and how does that work?
Sort of. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, actually. You're sort of forever juggling. Design is always a compromise. You can never exactly put everything where you want it.
Now, when you're happy with the layout, then you make a model. Now, shouldn't you be able to tell just from the plan what it's going to look like? How does the model actually help?
Well, you start off getting the three-dimensional feel from sketches, and then you get to the stage where you think you really need to see it in a more sort of solid form, so you can look at it from all angles, so you can hold it up and look down, look sideways, and all that sort of thing. The first plan I came to, which was as a result of a couple of months' work, I was very, very happy with, but I had a lot of trouble turning it into 3 dimensions, and I built a model, and that proved it wasn't working. The models, it's too fussy, and it really doesn't look like one house. It tends to look like 3 flats, but it takes a lot of courage then you have to scrap the plan.
Right. Okay, then there was the second one.
Well, the second one was very, very different. We'd lived for a few years in Malaysia, and they would build in compounds. So I decided that the children, particularly as I hoped that the children would stay living with us for quite a while, I thought it would be nice if we had a central area which had the living areas in it and our bedroom upstairs. And then the children each had their own bungalow, which would have a living area on the ground floor and a small bathroom. And then upstairs there would be a mezzanine where they would sleep. The children liked it very much. They were very, very enthusiastic about it, but it was going to be quite expensive to do because it was providing all those facilities. It was a bit like building a motel, really, with all those bathrooms and separate bungalows and things.
And then your third one, which is the one you finally settled on?
Yes, well, that again took quite a long time. As we progressed through the third plan, I had a feeling that it was going to work much better as a whole.
So the model works basically as an idea of what it's supposed to look like when it's finished?
Yeah, it helps the designer, really, and the client when they're different. I mean, it helped, in our case, it helped the family a lot to envisage what the house was going to look like, because it's very hard often, I think, for people to understand what drawings are like.
Could you explain what the sketch represents?
Right, well, you enter the house here. This is the door. From the entry, you come down a couple of steps into the living area, and from the living area, another couple of steps down to the conservatory. This is where we've been chatting. Around the conservatory are windows, right around. The conservatory faces north to get maximum sun. The solid lines here represent the walls, and these are doors entering from the living room out to the terrace, so you can sit out on a nice day and have a look at the view to the east. In the kitchen, I've got an island bench here where friends sit up and chat to me while I'm cooking. Over here, the fridge and freezer, and the oven's next door. Then on this side, I've got the sink in front of the window and the cooktop and wok cooker.
Did anyone else have any say as to how the house was going to look?
Maybe you ought to ask the children that.
Chloe,
Hi.
I've just been talking to your mum about the design of the house. What sort of input did you have into it?
We got to design the colours of our room and anything else we wanted in our room.
Okay, for instance, like your bedroom door. This is kind of a weird door. How did this come about?
I don't know, I was about 8 when I chose it, and I was going through a phase of horses.
Right. And the colours of the room, I mean, you've got yellow, purple and green.
Yeah, I don't know, wanted a bright effect or something. I was quite influenced by Punky Brewster at the time.
The kitchen obviously is a pretty important part of the house, and because I work long hours, it's got to be very practical. And so I chose granite bench tops because they don't stain with oil. You can put any temperature down on them. They are expensive, but they're very durable and will be here a long time after I am. I've got to have things where I want them and the sort of cooking equipment that can be quick. We don't have a lot of nice furniture, but one of the things we had was a table I really liked, so it had very nice proportions, and I designed the dining room in the same proportions as the table. The lightness is important. The light coming from different sources, I think, gives the spaces a sort of a very friendly feeling. I think it really has worked well as a family house.